Hey YouTube, my name is Nick, and in today's video, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to put in a drop-in 3.0 IPS backlit LCD screen mod for the Nintendo Game Boy Advance. And this is a no solder, no cutting kit from Zedlabs, and theoretically this should be pretty straightforward to install. And so we're going to get right into it. And the first thing we got to do is flip over the Game Boy Advance. And I have my copy of Pokemon Emerald in here, so I'm just going to take that out for now. And I'm going to take out these double A's as well, just because they're currently in the way for now. But the first thing we have to do after removing all those things is we have to take out 6 screws. There's one in here, there's one in this hole up here, and it's the same on the other side. One up here, one in here, and one in this corner. Okay, so now that we took out all 6 screws, this should theoretically separate. Did I miss a screw maybe? Oh yeah, actually, I missed a singular screw. There is also a screw right down there. So there's actually 7 screws, not 6. This is the first time I've taken apart an original model Game Boy Advance. Is that a Phillips? Oh, it's a Phillips. Okay, good to know. So they're not all tri-wing. That's cool. I came prepared. I have a Phillips. Now it should come apart. Just by, yep, that was so easy, just pulling it apart. I'm just going to put this off to the side. And it looks like it is a 40 pin because it is denoted by, it's kind of hard to see, that little, there's a little 40. Yeah, you can see right there on the motherboard. That's how you know it's a 40 pin model. So the next thing I need to do is separate the board from the front of the housing, and that is done by removing these screws here. And it looks like they're also Phillips. Okay, that should be a piece of cake. There we go. All right. Now for the slightly scary part. It's not that scary, but if there's one thing about me and electronics that I don't like, I do not like ribbon cables. Why? Just because they're very delicate. So I just gotta carefully pull up this tab. So now I can extract the board. By carefully removing it. I can maybe take these. Nope, I don't need to touch the buttons, it'll just come out. There we go. That comes out. And we gotta carefully extract the screen. I think I'll just remove these pieces for now, just so they're out of my way. Yeah, this can just sit off to the side. Okay. Flip this. Okay, well that just came out. That's okay. Okay, so now we just gotta get the screen out. The way how you get the screen out of the shell is that you kind of have to rock it a little, from what I've seen online, and it should come out. I can see already this corner of the display coming up. I don't want to break it, since the display was working perfectly fine, and it's always good to have a backup just in case. Yeah, that end comes up. Need to flex this side a little. If I could just like, if I could get like a finger or something under there, or like something small to help pry it up. Alright, so here's how I got the screen out. So I kind of held these membranes in place, kind of like this, and I rocked it back and forth. And then I kind of helped it up by carefully wrapping my fingers around the ribbon cable and pulling it up ever so slightly. Not too forcefully, just carefully wrapping my fingers around it and just gently lifting back as I rocked this a little. This bottom piece of the, I guess you want to call it like the bezel or whatever, like it's stuck to the previous screen. It was stuck a little bit at the bottom half, so I just had to carefully like peel that away. And of course, what we have here is the original display. This was the package that I got from Zedlabs. It doesn't even fit in the entire frame. It was in a box, but I took it out of the box because it was a very simple packaging. I'm just going to move this out of the way. So this anti-static bag contains everything that I need to do this mod. We'll start by opening that up. And that is everything that we need. What we really need is the 40-pin which looks like it would probably be this one. This is the 40-pin ribbon cable that needs to be inserted back into the GBA. So I kind of skipped a few steps in this process, but I'm going to explain everything that I did off camera. And so basically the first thing you have to do is you have to connect the display to this board. And the way how you want to plug it into the ribbon cables, well, first of all, you want to carefully lift up this ribbon cable here. You can use your fingernails, or you can use, I use some tweezers to carefully lift the bracket. And you want to make sure that when you're plugging it into that board, that the screen is facing up. And then what you want to do is you have to still attach the motherboard to that board. And so basically, once you've ensured that you have connected the correct ribbon cable to the Game Boy Advance, you want to have the gold pins facing up towards you when you plug it into the Game Boy Advance motherboard, and then have the pins facing downwards and have this black strip facing up when you plug it back into this main board. So the next step for me would be to attach the motherboard back to the back half of the GBA shell, so that we can test to make sure that the display works before we close it up and put everything back together. So basically all you want to do is you kind of just want to slot the motherboard back into its place without smushing the ribbon cable on the end here. And then you just have to insert the batteries as it is shown, usually in your case. And then we'll be able to test to make sure that the display works. Alright, so moment of truth. I slipped the batteries into the battery compartment, and I had to reattach the actual power switch because it kind of fell out as I was taking it apart. And so here we go. I'm going to flick it and we'll see if it works. Is that holding the switch? Maybe the batteries aren't touching properly, or I put dead batteries. Nope, there we go. Got it. And it looks glorious. Alright, perfect. So that's that out of the way. Now I'm going to shut this off. I'll do it one more time just to make it more dramatic, but there you go. Good, so the display is perfect, and there are no issues here, and now we'll move on to the next step. And so the next step involves that we take out the batteries, so I'm going to just carefully lift the GBA and kind of just try to remove the batteries. This might be a little bit tricky. There we go, got one. And then the other one should be pretty easy as well. Kind of just grabbed on the edge of it, but there we go. The batteries are out, so I'll put those off to the side for now. So we got to carefully remove the board from its case again. I'm going to basically flip these components over very, very carefully. So what I'm going to do next is I have to remove the ribbon cable from the motherboard, because the next step involves applying the insulating film to this part of the LCD so that this doesn't short out with this. But first we have to remove these tabs. There we go, just like that. And now this should just slide out. There we go, nice and easy. So as for the step where you attach the insulating film, you want to grab your insulating film. It's on this yellow sheet of paper. And you just gotta carefully peel it. Here's the edge of it. It's not all the way to the end of the paper, but you just take it, peel off the yellow part, and then stick it to the back of this LCD here. Alright, so after that is done, you just flip this onto the back of it like this. The board's gonna flip on its back like this, and now it won't short with the back of the display because we put the insulating film on. So I decided that for the sake of this video, I'm going to keep the touchpads in place, and I'm going to work with it and see what happens. Because supposedly, even if you don't go the soldering route, you should be able to access all three things on the on-screen display, that being the brightness, the color, and the, I think it's something like the pixel arrangement or something. I'll show it up on the screen afterwards, but I'll explain how to access that afterwards. For now, we're just going to continue on with this, with the installation of this screen. And so we're going to continue where I left off, which is by sticking the insulating film on this board so that it won't short with the actual GBA motherboard. Just like that. Okay, that does not seem to stick too well. Maybe that's... Okay, so maybe I overthought it, and that's why it's like this, so that... Because it's not supposed to stick to it. Because then otherwise, if you change your mind, for instance, how would you go about removing this, right? So that makes sense to me. That, or I left this unstuck for so long that it no longer sticks, while I was thinking about what I wanted to do. Okay, it's kind of sitting there. I would guess it's just pressed together. It kind of sticks up a little. It's not fully stuck to it, but should be okay. I'm gonna try just sticking the screen right into the case, because I didn't peel this piece up. I'll see if I can just get it right where it needs to be. I was basically just doing, I just realized that basically all my minor adjustments to the display here were done off camera, but I was basically just trying to center the actual display itself so that we don't see any of the edges in the screen when you look at it. Just to show you what I'm talking about, and it's maybe kind of hard to see, but you can see a little bit of the edge on the inside there, so I'm trying to minimize that. Alright, here we go. I finally got it back together. Moment of truth. Did I mess anything up? Here we go. Yes! There we go. That is how you do it. There you have it, it works. Before I end this video, I'm just going to quickly show it off with Pokemon Emerald, and that will be the end of the video. So before I show off the GBA working with the IPS screen, I just wanted to show that this was what was left of my IPS screen kit. These were basically the extras that I did not use. And right here is the original screen. I just put in an anti-static bag for now. But the last thing I want to show you, which I'll just put a screenshot of, is where to put the touch sensors, because I didn't talk about it when I was putting it all back together, because I was so focused on making sure that I did it right, that I spent more time on making sure that I put it back together properly for myself than actually showing how it's done. And so I apologize for that. And so I'll just put up a screenshot right now of where Jake Simmons recommends you put the touch sensors. So with that out of the way, here is the GBA in action. And I'll turn off that light just to show you that, yes, it does work. And I'll put some other original screen footage beside this just so you can see the difference. The way I have my touch sensors set is that I put the color changing one in a spot where I can't access it, because what was happening was that it was just constantly cycling through without me touching it, because it was having some interference thinking that I was tapping it. But I did leave the brightness sensor intact. I'm just going to turn the light back on for a sec. It's right here, so if I tap this part, you can see that the brightness will adjust. So that is at least working, and because the colors were constantly changing, I've decided therefore that I'm probably going to take this apart and just do the 3 wires that I got to solder to the board, which I guess then no longer makes the GBA stock, because you're actually modifying the hardware by soldering to it, but it makes it more reliable for the color sensor and the brightness. Even though I'm not going to use the color sensor much, I honestly could just leave it this way, but there's only one slight thing that's wrong with the way I have my screen in right now, and I don't know if you can notice, but it's kind of cut off a little bit. The screen needs to be shifted a little bit to the left. It's not too noticeable in some games, but in others you definitely will see this issue. And I noticed this, I think, in Super Mario Advance. When you look at the score, like, the writing is kind of cut off a little. So I probably will have to eventually take this apart again, just so that I can properly put the screen in the center. I actually had to redo this once as well, because I got a hair stuck underneath the lens, so you could see it on the display, but it's gone now because I did redo this at least a few times. And like I said, it took a few hours just to get this right. Was it in Super Mario Advance? Oh yeah, maybe it doesn't come up too well on the camera, but if you're looking at it like straight on, like this, and you don't quite angle it down like this, you can see that it's kind of cut off a little bit at the top. And I think also a little bit to the sides as well. But yeah, obviously it does work, no problem. And that's basically the end of the video. So I might need to do some minor adjustments on my end, but basically That's all there is to it, and it works no problem. So that's the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time.